And now I have my sermon for you. But first, I have a joke for you. Even on Yom Kippur. And I heard about this business that was struggling, was really, really struggling. So they decided to hire a new CEO. Okay, it was this young, very energetic guy. And when he came to work for the company, he wanted to make an impression. And he said the first thing he wanted to do was to get rid of all the lazy people working at the office. So he requested a tour to the company to see who was working, who wasn't working. So he started walking around, saying, hello, hello, everyone. And then he noticed a guy leaning against the wall. He was like this. And then the CEO said, I'm going to make an example of this guy. Say, you, come here. Said, how much do you make a week? Said, about $300. Okay. So he takes his checkbook and said, here you have $1,200, 4 weeks pay, get out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. The guy takes the check, put it in the pockets. He leaves. Then he looks at all the employees. He said, what did that tell you? And then one of the guys said, that tells me that you just tipped $1,200 to the pizza delivery guy. I want to talk to you today about I don't feel like it. I mean, I do feel like it. That's the title of the sermon. I don't feel like it. And I still remember, during the pandemic, when we were into lockdowns, one of the things that people were struggling was, for example, to exercise. People couldn't go to a gym anymore. And I have to admit that I was kind of blessed in that sense. We already had kind of the basement set up for this. And I discovered this company from New Zealand, actually, that they were already set up, even before COVID, to stream exercises over the internet. It was amazing. And they had great trainers. And I remember one of the things about this group, they were very good at motivating people to keep exercising. They were excellent. The phrases they were using, the methods they were using. And I remember this one thing that they were saying all the time, because you would see the trainers, they were really fit. They were saying that when you are looking for results, one of the things that you have to learn is that you have to commit yourself, come and exercise, even if you don't feel like it. I said, especially when you don't feel like it, if you want to see results, you still have to show up. And that actually was a very interesting thing. When you're looking for results, you have to avoid at all cost this kind of excuse, I don't feel like it. And we know that we are all into this. And I was realizing that, for example, this is one of the things that we tell our kids, right? They're very little. They have to go to school. They don't want to go to school in the morning. What did they say? I don't feel like it. And then we teach them, no. I understand you don't feel like it, but it's your responsibility. And you have to go. It's your duty. And then I was realizing that, I love that we teach this to our kids, and then how fast we forget about this principle in our lives. Because this is one of the things that we use all the time. When we know that we have certain responsibilities, but instead of fulfilling the duties, we are quick to say, I don't feel like it. And we just don't do it. We get mad at our kids, but we are very lenient with ourselves in that department. And it's interesting, because Judaism, believe it or not, has something to say about it. I was reading the other day a text from the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 5. And it says there, if you see the donkey of your enemy And the donkey is struggling under the load. And it says, even if you don't feel like helping the poor animal, you still have to go and help it. And I said, oh, what an amazing thing. The rabbis explained there that even if you don't feel like it, you still have the obligation to save or to help a poor animal that is innocent. You may have a beef with somebody else. That's your shtick. But the poor animal is suffering, and then because you feel something negative towards somebody else, now are you going to allow your feelings to prevent you to fulfill your duty? I said, no, even if you don't feel it, you still have to do it. Because Judaism is teaching us that we should never let our feelings affect our actions. Once we understand our responsibilities, we cannot allow the feelings to get in between. One of my favorite stories from the Bible to understand this concept is actually the story that we read in Purim. When we read the story about Haman and Mordecai. Haman had everything you can imagine. He had a wonderful family with sons, with a wife. He had a wonderful job. He was the second in command to the king. He had power, he had money, everything. Except that he didn't like Mordecai. He didn't like Mordecai. So because of that feeling, then he lost everything. He allowed the feeling to get in between, and he forgot his mission, and he lost everything. So this is interesting, because in life, sometimes we really know what we have to do, but that I don't feel like it gets in the way and ruins everything. So, you know who knows this principle and who applies this principle better than anybody else? Soldiers. Have you ever seen a soldier saying, no, I'm not going to shoot. I don't feel like it. It doesn't work that way because they are well aware of the consequences of letting their feelings get in the way. The problem is we sometimes are not aware of the consequences. So soldiers have it very clear that when they have an obligation, when they have a duty, they have to fulfill that duty regardless of the way they feel. And I was realizing, looking around, right? We look around, we read the news, we see what's happening in our community, in our cities, in our universities, in Israel, right? And we know our obligations as Jews. We know that we should be praying more. We know that we should be going to all the rallies. We know that we should opening our wallets to help our community, to help Israel. We know it. I don't feel like it. Let's go to the rally. I don't feel like it. Why don't you make a donation to Israel? I don't feel like it. Let me tell you something. That's not a Jewish attitude. Because we may not be soldiers in the traditional sense, but we are all fighting in different battlefronts. And we are all very good at different things in different battlefronts. Some people, let me tell you, they are really good at praying. They come to synagogue every day. They commit themselves, and that's their duty. They pray for Israel. They pray for the hostages. They pray for the community. Some people are good advocates. They know that's their duty. Some people, they have the resources to help. So we should never allow the I don't feel like it get in the way. And I was realizing that in the year 5785, we are going to have lots of challenges ahead of us. So, but my message for all of you, my challenge for all of you is that it's in this new year, we all know what we have to do. And every time that we have to sit up to help our community and to help Israel, we should do it, regardless if we don't feel like it. Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, Gmar Chatima Tova.